Robin Hood, spawn of Nyarlathotep. I would say issue number one, but this is just a giant one-shot. So, yeah, one-shot by Zenescope. And in this one-shot, Robin Hood fights Cthulhu. I'm not joking. That's literally what the story's about. Yeah, I haven't been reading all the Zenescope stuff. I have been catching Robin Hood stuff. Bells kind of here and there, and Helsing. So lately with Robin Hood, she's been dealing with Nyarlathotep. I'm probably butchering that pronunciation. It's the Lovecraft entity, and anyone who's familiar with the Lovecraft mythos will understand that a lot of pronunciations are just really, really hard, especially for someone like me who has speech problems. Yeah, like anyone who doesn't know, basically, English is my second language. I learned it from two people, my parents, who learned it as a second language. So my pronunciation on words is already kind of messed up. It's just speaking English. And I have a speech impediment. I have a speech disorder. I have trouble pronouncing certain words, specifically my R's. I went to like school for like 7 years, and I still screw it up sometimes. So trying to get my tongue around Cthulhu mytho creatures is going to be a struggle, but I'm going to try. So Nyarlathotep, I'm guessing is a pronunciation. Anyways, enough about me. Let's get right into this story. So, yeah, the story is basically, it deals with Robin Hood taking on Cthulhu. She's having dreams and nightmares, and interspace through this adventure is flashbacks of her as a small child dealing with bullies. I find it kind of funny that even as a small child, she wears a green hoodie. I don't know, like who here wears the same type of outfit that they wore when they were a small child? I know I don't. If I did, I'd be running around in Ninja Turtles outfits all the time. But yeah, she basically wakes up from a nightmare. She gets a text saying, hey, turn on the news. So she sees the news where she sees like this woman being interviewed with her child, and basically talking about how they were kind of like jumped by this creature that had like, they couldn't really see exactly what it was, just that it was like tentacles were involved. So hopefully she didn't get hentied. So yeah, Robin's like, all right, well, that sounds like something I got to take care of. Maybe she just heard the word tentacles and she got super excited. But yeah, she decides to go dressed up in her Robin outfit and calls up Ghost Hawk, a character that appeared in, I forgot the name of the one shot. I did a review for it though. It's the one where they take on the Wendigo. Robin Hood fights the Wendigo. One of the characters there is Ghost Hawk, who is a Native American with kind of like ghostly spiritual powers. Why is it that every time there's a Native American superhero, it's always got to be some kind of like weird powers with nature? Like, can't you just have something else? I'm just wondering. Like, it's kind of like black superheroes with powers of electricity. It's like, can you not give them something else? I don't really find Ghost Hawk all that entertaining, to be honest. He's kind of a bland, boring character. Maybe it's just because he's really quiet and stoic, so he doesn't really like talk much. He doesn't have a personality. He's basically kind of like just a statue in a sense. So I don't know. I find those characters really boring. And also, like I said, like I don't find his character design or his powers all that interesting. It's very like been there, done that, seen it before. Give me something new. But he's gonna go and help Robin when Nyarlathotep, who is a sexy woman in this, because that's kind of what Zenescope does. It takes like folklore and legends and fairy tales, and it gender bends them into sexy women. So as you can probably guess, Robin Hood is based off Robin Hood. You have Cinderella, you have Belle from Beauty and the Beast. They're all like sexy badass women. And so Nyarlathotep is a sexy woman. And she shows up and she stops Ghost Hawk. She basically like uses some kind of powers to immobilize him, and tells him like, hey, like, you're gonna stay here because I want to see what Robin can do on her own. So we cut to Robyn, and she shows up at like this waterfront where she is trying to figure out, okay, this is like around the area where the woman says she was attacked. Let's see if we can gather any clues. And that's when she sees like this giant like cargo ship. She's like, okay, something's like pointing me towards that. Let's go check it out. So she shows up to the ship, gets inside, and that's when she's immediately attacked by the Deep Ones. And I'm like, all right, sweet. A Lovecraft creature that I can easily pronounce the name of, the Deep Ones. So, yeah, she fights the Deep Ones. Speaking of the Deep Ones, Shadow over Innsmouth. Amazing story. My favorite Lovecraft story. If you haven't read it before, please go check it out. And there was actually a video game heavily inspired by Shadows over Innsmouth called Call of Cthulhu Dark Corners of the Earth. That game is freaking amazing. It is one of my favorites. If you haven't played that game, please go check it out. It is amazing. Like, it's a first-person game, but it's not a first-person shooter. Like, you're not running around blasting Cthulhu creatures. It's basically like you want to run, you want to hide, you want to keep your sanity meter down. It's awesome. But yeah, she's fighting the Deep Ones, and eventually this door gets like busted open, and Cthulhu pops out. And Cthulhu is not like this gigantic beast like we know in the mythos. He's basically like maybe 2 stories tall. And yeah, Robin Hood fights him with her bow and arrow. Cthulhu, the creature that can basically turn you insane just by looking at it. She fights it with a bow and arrow. And she wins. Yeah. That was kind of, I was like, all right. Maybe it's just because, like, I'm a huge Lovecraft fan. So it's weird just to see, like, the entities get, like, super nerfed. Like, I guess if you go in and you don't know anything about Lovecraft and you're just like, oh, this was inspired by that squid monster. Okay, this looks kind of cool. Then I can understand that. But, like, someone who actually reads the mythos, seeing a female with a bow and arrow take on Cthulhu and win, it's kind of like, oh, okay. And I know some people are like, well, someone took on Cthulhu with just a ship. It's like, yeah, but that's not a bow and arrow. There's like more. I'm not gonna really spoil the rest though. But yeah, if you wanna see Robin Hood fight Cthulhu, here you go. This is the issue for you. She fights Cthulhu. I would say it's interesting. Artwork is, I mean, it's Zenescope. Zenescope is not really known for their great artwork. It's not terrible though. Like Zenescope, the artwork is either like, you know, pretty decent or it's absolute garbage. I'll say this one's more on the pretty decent side. The story itself is nothing to write home about. It's just a basic popcorn flick. It's just, hey, here's Robin. She fights Cthulhu. And that's kind of it. They do try to, like I said, they try to like intercut a bunch of flashbacks of Robin as a child getting beaten by her bully, and then like her mom like giving her like life advice on her deathbed, and then Robin like confronts her bullies. But I feel like all that was just kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like, are you trying to pad out the story? Because you can take that out and it doesn't really change the story in any way. Like I felt like it was pretty pointless. Some people might disagree, but yeah, I didn't care too much for the flashbacks. I feel like they didn't really contribute to the story in any meaningful way. And yeah, I would have just focused more on Robin Hood. Maybe turn it like into some kind of like a mystery story. I mean, Lovecraft, like the big thing is like the mystery. It's the characters trying to discover this otherworldly thing, and then usually it ends up with them gaining some kind of knowledge that mankind isn't supposed to know, and it causes them to go crazy. Now, obviously, I know you can't do that with Robin Hood because she's a reoccurring character, a popular character for this publisher. But I would have done something like have her trying to gather clues. Like, she's like, all right, this girl was attacked by tentacles. Let's show up at this place where she was attacked, and let's see if we can gather some kind of clues. maybe she has to do some research and, go deeper into like the lore of these creatures. It just kind of feels like, oh, this thing was attacked by tentacles. Oh, here's a cargo ship. Oh, there's the deep ones in Cthulhu. Okay, let's fight them. It's like, all right, that was kind of fast. I guess Nyarlathotep isn't trying all that hard to like hide her creatures, but yeah, I guess I would have just liked a little bit more of a build-up. It feels like things just kind of happen way too fast, which I guess I can kind of understand. It is a 30-page one-shot, so you have to kind of get everything in here. But if you cut out Ghost Hawk and cut out the flashbacks, you would have more pages to build up to the showdown with Cthulhu. I would have preferred that instead. I think that would have been a better way to do it. Like, it would have a better flow where, she's gathering evidence and we're building up to this entity, and then she takes it on. I don't know. To me, it's just kind of weird that you fight and beat Cthulhu with a bow and arrow. I mean, I guess technically it's not just with the bow and arrow. There's some kind of mystical thing involved with the bow and arrow. I'm not going to spoil it, but this mystical thing just kind of happens out of nowhere. And it's just like, oh, okay. And yeah, it's just, there's no build-up. It's just, Robyn sees the news. Robyn shows up at the waterfront. Robyn sees cargo. She fights deep ones. She fights Cthulhu. Mystery power-up. Beats Cthulhu. It's like, oh, okay. That's it. Like, there's no, like, we're building up the tension. We're building up to this showdown. Maybe she's getting her ass kicked, and then like some weird thing starts happening. She starts like realizing, she's like, oh, like, why am I glowing? What's going on? Why am I turning, like, why is my clothes turning white? What's that happening to my bow? Like something like that. It's just, no, 1 minute she's normal, the next it's like a flash and she's not. It's just like, oh, okay. There's just, I don't know. There's no build up to anything whatsoever. Things just kind of rush through. Yeah, she beats it with a bow and arrow. A magic bow and arrow, but a bow and arrow nonetheless. I know some people might be like, well, I mean, in Call of Cthulhu, they beat it with a ship. And it's like, yeah, kind of, but they didn't kill it. So basically, in Call of Cthulhu, there's a moment where one of the main characters, Johansson, he's like on this, I call it a ship, but it's like, I think it's actually a yacht. And he rams Cthulhu with it. And he doesn't, like, he beats, quote unquote, Cthulhu, but it's more like he just kind of temporarily stuns it. He kind of like injures it a bit. And as Cthulhu is kind of recovering from being hit by this ship, Johansson has already like taken off on the ship, and he's already like gained enough distance between him and Cthulhu that he's able to disappear. So he wins. He beats Cthulhu, but he doesn't necessarily destroy Cthulhu. He's not killing Cthulhu. It's more like his victory is temporary. It's basically he hit it with the ship strong enough to kind of stun it and then take off. So yeah, and that was like I said, that was with the giant yacht. Here she just kind of beats it with the bow and arrow, a magic bow and arrow, but still, I don't know. It's weird to just see Cthulhu like get hit by an arrow and then he's dead. Like this is like a giant, like, I mean, it's Cthulhu. He's not the strongest character in the Cthulhu mythos, despite the name of the mythos being called Cthulhu mythos. He's not the strongest entity in that mythos, but he is really, really powerful on his own right. I think it'll take more than a magic bow and arrow to beat him. Speaking of like ships ramming into giant creatures, this is a little bit off topic, but it's just something I'm just kind of wondering. The original Little Mermaid from Disney, is the final showdown between Eric and Ursula inspired by Call of Cthulhu? Because it has the same like incident happening. Like Ursula turns into like this giant creature, and then Prince Eric uses his ship to ram it and beat Ursula. That's kind of like the same way that Johansson rams his yacht into Cthulhu and quote unquote beats Cthulhu in that regard. I just wonder if that's like, if Disney was inspired by Lovecraft in that way. And that's just something interesting to think about, Disney being inspired by H.P. Lovecraft. I'm getting off topic though. Yeah, this was a C. It's an average comic. If you're just looking for some dumb fun, check it out. There's no like, it's not like really super well written. It's basically like a popcorn flick. It's kind of like a paint by numbers kind of comic. Like if you just want to see this badass sexy girl go and fight deep ones in Cthulhu, that's pretty much what you get. It's just kind of, that's it. There's no like really, there's no like, you know, deep lore, or it's not a story that's going to like make you think. It's not really going to be something that probably sticks with you. It's just one of those where it's like, hey, come watch this lady fight this monster. All right, that's it. Hope you enjoyed. Which I, you know, I kind of like those kind of stories. Like I prefer, I like popcorn flicks. I like things where like, don't get me wrong, like I love stories that make you think and stuff like that. But sometimes I'm just in the mood for dumb entertainment, and that's basically what this is. I know that sounds kind of like an insult, but it's just dumb, mindless entertainment. And stories like that have a place in the world. And so if you enjoy that, that's what you get with this. And if you don't, then I guess skip it. But there you go. There's Robyn Hood, spawn of Nyarlathotep. Please feel free to tell me how much I've butchered the pronunciation in the comments below. Because I probably did, but that's how I have always kind of seen it as. I always kind of saw it as Nyarlathotep. But maybe I'm wrong. But there you go. Hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you next time. Take care. Later. So what'd you guys think of that video? I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe, hit that bell for notification, leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And if you didn't enjoy the video, thank you for watching it this far, and I hope the next video is more to your liking. Feel free to check out the playlist that you guys see, and I hope to see you guys next time. Later.